Hello, so today I'm going to show you how to build a campaign in a weekend. Well, really, in a couple of hours, right? So, where do we start? So, this campaign that we're doing is something I'm actually going to run for my business. I want to be speaking to founders, CEOs, head of sales. I want to be calling them up. I want to be emailing. I want to be connecting on LinkedIn. So multi-channel. We have a cold call first approach here because you can get more conversations per unit time. You can find the right people. It's just much better than email. Email is a much more saturated channel. And on top of that, email is easy. Anyone can sit behind their desk anywhere in the world and send an email with a little bit of copy and stuff like that. Not everyone can pick up the phone over and over again and speak to prospects. So it's much less saturated, as well as having faster conversations. So anyway, we want to do a bit of everything. And we want to build the list so that this week coming we can do that. So where do we start? Well, we're going to start in Apollo, in Find Companies. Now, in my head, I'm going to this like I want a list of 100 leads, because if I'm going to do 7 touches, there's going to be some emails and things like that. But if I'm going to do 7 touches, probably about 700 in total, right? So I don't really want any more. And this is an experiment for a week, so I don't really want any more than 100 leads. 100 might be too much, but yeah, let's go with 100 for now. So let's do some filtering. Okay, so I want to target the US. We actually also target Canada and the UK. Apollo has a US dialer only. We're also using Apollo for the actual sequencing itself. And given that we just want to start testing, it just makes sense to go with the US. So let's narrow that down further to the US. Employee range, we work with companies where they've got between 5 and 25 people in their sales team. That's kind of the sweet spot. We don't work with any less than that because, they're still a startup, they're unproven. We can't take full responsibility for their business. We work with people that are 3 million and above ARR and they have a sales team. But anything larger than 25 is outside of our realm of expertise for now. And so look, we've got that roughly equates to 21 to 150 employees. So we've got that range there. B2B SaaS. And we also want to be looking for companies that are hiring for SDRs. And on top of that, we can start stacking signals because we're looking for the top 100, right? So, okay, well, what if we add rapid growth on top of that? We've still got 414 accounts. What we could then do again is add another layer on top of that. Okay, what we've actually done is, so 414 accounts, if we've got a one-to-one, so one account to one person, one account to one founder, but actually we're going to have a founder, we're going to have a CEO, and we're going to have a sales. So we're going to have, it's going to be more like 1-to-3, 1-to-4, if you've got a couple of founders. And so 414 is probably going to give us like 1.5K, something like that, at least. So yeah, so we actually want to narrow this list down further. So what can we do? We're actually going to then break this list down and look at 21 to 50, because we can do 51 to 100 and 101 to 200 in a separate list. This is more about testing whether we're targeting the right people. So this is more on the side of 5 to 8 sort of size sales teams. Okay, so what we've then done then is gone over to find people. And we have the same filters, but you can see we've taken out. We've just got 21 to 50. We've got the same job postings, same signals, and now let's start filtering for job titles. So CEO, founder, head of sales, director of sales, VP of sales. We don't want similar titles. We don't need to start adding in other people. Founder, C-suite, VP, head, and director level. And we've got about 233 people there. The thing is once we start exporting this list and looking at phone numbers and emails and, actually doing checks to see, is this actually a B2B SaaS? In Apollo it is, but if we actually want to check this with AI and web scraping, is it? So 233 is likely going to go down. So I'm happy with 233. I think that's probably going to come out at around 100 anyway. So I'm happy with this list. We obviously do our checks and go through all a few of the different pages just to make sure. But I'm happy with the list. So what can we then do? We can then select all of those. We can hit add to list, and we can in fact, what I want to do before we do that is I want to, here we go. I want to select custom. I want to select 233, but I want to make sure that there's a maximum of, say, 3 people at the company. Let's go with that. Let's see what that turns out with. So 214, so we've lost about 15 people or so. So then we can add that to the list 2, bang, done. We've already done this, so I'm not gonna do that. And if we go over to list 2, you can see 215 contacts. I can then export that list. And what I've then done is I've imported that into Freckle. So what it does is it gives you loads and loads of columns. It gives you about 75 or so in total. Obviously, I've gone through and deleted all of the ones that aren't really relevant, but we've got names to emails, email, what stage they're at. So am I already approaching them in a different sequence, or are they completely cold? Employees, industry, LinkedIn, website, where the contact's located. We also filtered for people. We filtered for accounts that are in the US, and we filtered for people that are in the US, because again, we want US companies, but we also, when we're phoning the personal number of someone, we want them to be in the US, right? So as we go across, we've enriched with mobile numbers in Freckle. So that's one of the reasons we've taken it to Freckle. We don't really like the phone numbers given in Apollo. And actually we did get some non-US numbers. So what we can then do is just say, return 1 if mobile number is a US number, starts with +1, return 0 if otherwise. Great. We've then filtered by US numbers only. And then we just wanted to do a check whether they're B2B SaaS or not. So it was, can you please visit the website, determine if company is B2B SaaS, return 1, return if yes, return 1, if no, return 0. Now, we could probably add some more checks and balances in there, but this is quite quick and dirty. So we've done that, we've filtered by the ones, we've got this list, and altogether now we have 115 contacts. So you can see that's gone down from, originally 233 or so, max 3 people per company, which is 215, and now we're down to 115. So it's 100 contacts. Probably going to struggle getting through all of these in a week, but it's about right. It's a good number. 100's a good number. So we're then going to export that list, download, go back to Apollo, hit sequences, and we can then create a new sequence, start a sequence from scratch, and we can then add the contacts. So hit add contacts, upload CSV, map the columns, and then they'll all be loaded in, right? And you're just mapping Apollo columns to Freckle columns. And obviously we've added a few extra ones. You can actually add custom in there as well. And now it's about actually the sequence. So we wanted to do a phone call as step 1, then email, then a LinkedIn connection request, but if we're already connected, LinkedIn message, then a phone call again, then an email. Again, if they pick up the phone on the first go, the sequence stops. So we're not going to be calling people that have picked up before, unless they want us to call back, and then we'll log them in the CRM. So yeah, step 1 phone call, step 2 email, step 3 LinkedIn connection request / message. Then we're going to do phone call, then we're going to do email, then we do a LinkedIn message, and we're going to do phone call, then we're going to do in email. Any reply stops the sequence, okay? So that's that. So now it's about working out the messaging. Now, what a lot of people are doing is they're going into, again, Freckle is like Play, but a cheaper version, and we prefer it. It's much simpler as well. And we're using this for a lot of clients as well. Cheaper on credits, more affordable, much simpler pricing system. There's no feature gating. It's literally price based on credits alone, and it has a lot of the same capabilities. So we like Freckle. But a lot of people in Freckle want to start adding new columns, and they want to get AI to write all of the messaging. If they've got this, then do this, and if they've got this. The problem with that is you can't then start comparing what's working and what's not working. A much better way to do this is to have super targeted lists and have one script that's super targeted. If it doesn't feel relevant, the list isn't targeted enough, we can then iterate on that script, that one script, improve that as we go, and then we know if that's working. So we're validating as we go. How can you validate if you're just getting AI to write a bunch of messaging? So we actually believe that humans should be doing that. So I want to show you, I made this in an evening yesterday. So again, what we've done so far should be what, we're building the list, we're exporting, we've gone into Freckle. That should be like an hour. And then this is probably the most time consuming bit, is actually building the messages. Probably took me about an hour and a half, 2 hours max. So cold call one. Okay. Hey, first name. So, hey, Jack, saw you're growing your sales team and looking to book more demos, so I thought this call might be relevant. It's Joe calling from Demand House. Have you got 30 seconds to find out why I'm calling you today? If they're heading into a meeting, I can say, no problem. Can I give you a 10-second rundown so you know if it's worth a call back? They say yes. If they say no, finish. But if they say yes, when I speak with sales teams that are scaling quickly, I often see them hire too many reps too fast, which ends up hurting efficiency. As headcount grows, reps spend less time selling and more time on list building, manual prospecting, admin, and CRM updates. Does that sound familiar or am I way off here? Now, if it's familiar, great. You can then start going down that road. And if they say way off, you're actually getting information that's going to help validate. So either way is a good way. Obviously, we want to start nailing the problem more and more and more as we iterate through the scripts. But if they say you're way off, that's a conversation, that's feedback, and that's a win. So regardless of the response, because we could say, if they say sounds familiar, I'm going to go down this route. And if they say, but we want to keep it nice and simple for now, regardless response, I'm going to say, interesting. What does a top performing sales team look like to you? We're going to have a conversation about that, and then we're going to transition to value. So nice. As I mentioned earlier, I'm calling from Demand House. We're talking about the value we bring. We build go-to-market systems that automate the grunt work so reps can spend more time calling, emailing, booking demos. Based on what you've shared, it seems there's a clear area where we could help you. Would you be open to finding out where your inefficiencies are right now? If they say yes, because why wouldn't you say yes? We say, great, how does date and time 1 or date and time 2 sound for a GTM, a go-to-market audit? We're giving them 2 options. Okay, if they ask what's in this go-to-market audit, we briefly explain that. If we have their email, we just want to confirm. If we don't have their email, we want to ask them what their best business email is. If they give you their personal, sometimes they're pieing you off. And then if they don't want the audit, we want to say no worries at all. Rather than audit, would it be more useful if we sent you a list of 100 of your hottest prospects right now? No pitch, just the data. What's the best email to send that to? Great. So there's value there, which is the goal. Then email 1, we're going to be, again, so what I'm actually doing here, I've got a bunch of emails warming right now. I'm actually using my own domain, and obviously that people say that's quite risky. We're going very low volume, and I'm also writing the copy in a way where it's personal, where it's feeling personal. And so the personal and the relevance, plus the fact that I'm going to be sending 20 or so emails a day, means that it's not actually that much of a risk. And once my emails have warmed, once my new inboxes have warmed, I will then move over to that, and that's a couple of weeks away. So to the people out there saying about that, it's absolutely fine to use your personal domain. Like, you can think like you're emailing someone you've never met before. That's perfectly fine. It's the same here. So Joe here, again, personal nature. Saw you're growing your sales team at quite the pace. When I see B2B SaaS teams do this, demos often increase, but inefficiencies compound as reps spend less time selling and more time on admin. But with the right sales tech and systems in place, like we're building for company name, efficiency actually grows with headcount. Curious if efficiencies improve since adding more reps. So I'm just trying to have a conversation with them. I'm genuinely curious about how efficiency is for them right now as they're growing. We've got a LinkedIn message where I just want to send them value. I want to send them this list of 100 hottest prospects. If they didn't pick up the cold, now if they picked up the cold call, like I said up here, the sequence ends. If they respond to any of this, sequence ends. But if they haven't, then obviously we're cold call 2 now. So same script, email 2, reply in the thread. Again, we want to say, look, we pulled a list of your 100 highest intent prospects. We did that on LinkedIn. We're going to do that on email now. LinkedIn message, we're actually just trying to engage them again. So imagine tech and sales and systems are top of mind for you right now as you grow. So that same line, does that sound about right? Cold call script 3. And then finally, we actually send them an email that says that we want to help you with a go-to-market audit, some social proof in there. We've worked with 4+ SaaS company, 4+ 5 million ARR SaaS companies this year. And so we're using that, and we're also building an outbound motion for a company at the moment. So is it worth exploring? So we've got all of our sequences, great. 1 hour, 2 hour, might take you a little bit longer, but again, you can do this all in a day really on a Saturday. So you can get prep for the week. Then you can add all of this in here, right? So we're going to schedule the task immediately for a phone call. We're going to wait a couple of hours because we want that follow-up email to be a couple of hours after the phone call. Then we're going to do the LinkedIn the following day, which is an action item. We do not believe in LinkedIn automation. If anyone does LinkedIn automation, I'd stay clear of them. It's risky. As you grow following, as you start to make good content, which you should be, like, why would you not want to make good content? Your following grows, you get more engagement. Why would you want to risk your account getting banned by LinkedIn by doing automation? Everything should be manual. You should be using the platform as designed, which is networking. And that's exactly what we're doing here. So it's an action item, and we're going to put that in there. Phone call, which is going to be a day after LinkedIn. Then email, a couple of hours follow up after that. Then we're going to have LinkedIn action item a day after. And then we're going to have phone call a day after that. And we're going to have an email 2 hours after that. And that is it then. Okay. And so what we can then do is save that sequence. We can activate and we can see all of our tasks now popping up in here. And so you can see my first task is to call John. I've got the script in here, fantastic. I've got his email. I've got his mobile number. I can literally just hit call. I've got a US number. So what will happen is it will pop up at the bottom and I've got a bunch of information. So you can see it's just one click. And all I need to do then is look, call purpose, prospecting call. What was the call outcome? If it's positive, again, if it's any connected, it stops the sequence. If it's a no answer, I log it and then I log and then a next one. You can see now you're just going through your task list. Now, this is for me personally, like I am the only one for Demand House doing outreach. I have people operating and delivering for clients, but for outreach, it's just myself. But when we're building this out for sales teams, and we are using Apollo for this, we're using a very similar flow. What we'll then do is we'll have rep 1 sequence, rep 2 sequence, rep 3, rep 4, rep 5, and so it might be that rep 1 and 2 are doing the tier 1 prospects, and tier 1 basically means like the best fit accounts, their signals, and we want them to be cold calling, right? They might be more cold call focused. You can also get larger organizations where it's like enterprise reps versus mid-market reps versus SMB reps, and you can do it that way. But effectively, depending on what size you are and depending on how you divide up your reps, you can just have rep 1 sequence, rep 2 sequence, rep 3. We've got at the moment, we have one cold caller for a client, and then they've got 3 or so email only. So we have the email onlys and we have the cold caller. And then you can see that we can say, oh, we're going to have email only for those. But yeah, so for tier 1 companies, we add to Apollo. And then for tier 3 companies, you can use a tool like Instantly. And we're warming in Instantly at the moment, so we're not actually sending any campaigns. But yeah, you can add campaign, call it my campaign, and you can add leads. And there we go. We're now actually sending emails to people. The really good, so yeah, tier 3 in Instantly, tier 1 and 2 in Apollo. And the good thing about cold calling as well is you're really going to start to improve your messaging, okay? Well, you're going to do more than that. You're going to find out over time who are the best people to speak to. You might find out that founders aren't good to speak to because one of them might be a founder that's in the product side. You might find actually it's head of sales, not VP, it's head of sales. So you're going to find out better people to target. You're going to improve your lists. And as you go, you're also going to improve your messaging. So you might be like, okay, they're not really there's a bit of friction around in this opening. Okay, so why is that? And then you can start to iterate your script. I'm going to change the CTA. And then over time, that's then going to help with improving your email outbound. So you can see that there's no point sending email outbound unless you have validated, unless you already know who are the right people to target with the right messaging. Because if the messaging is fantastic, right company, right person, right message at the right time, people will respond to emails, okay? It'll still be lower reply rates, but they'll respond. But how do you know what that is unless you're getting the volume of feedback that you get from cold calling? So all of this tier 1 stuff is going to be helping with our tier 3, and then you're building this go-to-market engine that is absolutely fantastic. And Another thing you can do as well, this is all on the pure outbound side, but on the inbound led outbound side, you can actually use tools like Warmly, set up webhooks to send that data to Freckle, and then again you can then send to sequences here in Apollo. And so what that means is you can get someone who's visiting the website, and then you can actually then call them up and say, hey, look, I saw you visiting the website, you're on the pricing page, you're at this company, this is your role. I just wanted to see if there's anything I can help you with today. And, if you get in more website traffic and more relevant people, then you're gonna have a lot of really good conversations. You're gonna get high response rates. But the other thing with Warm is you get much shorter sales cycles. Think about it. If we're targeting people cold, we've got to build trust. We've got to build trust and get the sale. Whereas a lot of the work has been done. If they've already been to your website, a lot of the trust has already been built. So it's shorter sales cycles. Anyway, that's how you build a campaign in a weekend. You can then run that in the week, test it and iterate. So this 100 leads is really good for validation, because you can do that. And then next weekend you can be like, we weren't getting the right people, let's change the list. The messaging wasn't quite landing, let's change the messaging. And you keep doing this over and over again, and you're going to find that you're going to hit message market fit and start booking a ton of calls and demos.